So this question about growth, I was speaking to analysts this morning who told me that actually they're concerned about drivers for growth and whether we will see any growth other than French retail. What would you say?
I think that basically what we've done during the past 5 years is exactly this, building growth drivers. We have a third now of our revenues coming from retail banking outside France, specialized finance companies, and also asset management. And the pace of growth is quite impressive. You are in the range between 12 or 15 or 20 according to the different business lines, and net profit is up by 35% for asset management, 35% for specialized finance company, 25% for retail banking outside. That's growth.
Sure. Is it sustainable though? I mean, that's the main question.
Yes, indeed, we do think it's sustainable.
What do you feel about, and this is obviously a thorny question, but there's talk of consolidation in Europe. You've obviously seen the Santander Abbey deal, obviously the German banks are always in the frame for consolidation. I would like to find out what your view is and what the real obstacles to consolidation are in your sector. I mean, are we likely to see any more consolidation?
I don't know. I think that's a usual question we have yearly, at least. I would say that if there is a solution by merging two banks, including SG, we can deliver, SG, we can deliver better revenue, better value creation for shareholders, for employees and for customers, we will. But for the time being, it's not so obvious that it will improve the existing way of managing SG. That's as simple as it is.
You raised, you did a capital raising, a tier 1 capital raising in the month of January. What are you going to do with all this excess capital? How are you going to redeploy it?
You basically, first the amount of what you mean, what you call excess capital. Excess capital is what? We have 8.5% tier 1 ratio. We could manage the bank at 7.6, something like this. It's a couple of billions, no more. And it's just what we need to fuel organic growth or to make some selective acquisition, no more. And we are not going to buy Citicorp with this.
What about the corporate and investment banking division? I have spoken with JP Morgan, actually, the bank that raised this issue, that both cash equity and corporate finance are lagging. Is it really worth keeping the franchise? What would you say to that?
It's a kind of business which has been delivering a return on equity above 30% for 7 quarters in a row. I don't see any weakening of this business. I like to have it. I like to have it profitable, and I like to have it the way it is in 2004, expanding. So sincerely, I think that that's not the type of question I have to deal with for the time being.
How are you going to expand it? You talk about expansion within CIB. How would you plan to expand it?
Basically, we are still a room of expansion in some European countries. We are very strong indeed in France. We are quite strong in Germany or in Italy or in Spain or in Asia, but we could be stronger if you have in mind a franchise. We could be also stronger vis-à-vis a certain type of customers, financial institution, for example. So there is clearly, if you look at the situation country by country, by type of customer, there is room for expansion, and that's what we've done in 2004, having this treasury business declining. In fact, if you look at our revenues, the share of customer-driven business increased quite significantly, and that's what we are going to do in 2005 and next and the other years.
2 more questions. One on the accountancy standards and one more on sort of the conjoncture, European economy, where you see growth, where you might see growth next year. Let's go to the first one. Obviously, there's going to be a change in accountancy standards. Most companies will adopt the international accountancy standards. How is this likely to impact you in 2005 and looking further beyond?
First of all, we have to know exactly what the scope of the change is, and as we have announced it in September last year, we are going to give full information by 10 of March, and then after for a full new accounting system for the first quarter by mid-May, something like this. What I can tell you for the time being, just looking at those accounting principles, at the first figures I have in mind, and also with a new regulation Basel II for the next 2 or 3 years, we don't see any global major changes. I'm not saying that the way to run the bank is going to remain the same. I'm not saying that here or there we don't need to adjust. I mean, globally, our strategy is not going to be changed because of those new accounting principle or new Basel principle.
My final question here is more on the macroeconomic aspect, outlook for Europe. Most people see European growth flat in 2005. Would you be of that opinion, or if so, could you expand a little bit? What might we see a little bit more growth? Are there any differences?
If you mean by something like 1.5 or 1.6 flat, I agree. And that's why we in the past invested a lot of money in retail banking, financial services outside Europe. That's why also we invested in asset management in the US and in Asia, basically, because we need, having this situation in Europe, we need some growth drivers elsewhere, and that's what we've done.
So Societe Generale is not planning any acquisitions, no big mergers or acquisitions for Societe Generale?
We are just planning selective acquisition consistent with our strategy. Now, to know whether there are going to be a dramatic change tomorrow morning, you will see, and I will see too. It will happen the day when we think we can deliver more value by this way, which is for the time being not proven.
Thank you, Mr. Citerne.
Thank you.